Today's beading lesson is about knotting gemstones, and there are a couple of different techniques that you can use to knot your stones onto cord. So the first thing that you need to get started is some cording that has a needle attached. And you want to use this type of cord that comes on a card, and it does have a little crease in it, so as you unwind it, just pull gently on your cording to take those creases right out, and that will make your knots a lot more tight and consistent as well. And then the next thing that you want is a bead reamer. Now a reamer is kind of like a sandpaper, but it has a conical tip that fits down inside a bead. And the way that they work is you want to use always a little dish of water if you're using a battery operated reamer, because it moves really fast and it creates some heat on the bead. You wouldn't want to burn yourself. So you hold this down in the water and then use your reamer to take off part of that inside of the hole, and that's so that you can pass your cording several times through the bead. The reason that's as important is because at the beginning and the end of the knotted piece, you're going to run your cording twice through those beads. So you ream the first few beads that you're going to string onto your necklace. So lay that aside. Now the next thing that you'll need to know about is French wire. And this is a hollow tube of coiled wire that passes over the ends of the necklace. If you take a look at the finished necklace here, right here you can see the French wire is coiled around at the base of that first bead through the chain. And now if you're using a clasp here, it's the same kind of idea. You still use French wire to cover the end of your cording where it meets anything that is metal, because that can cause some abrasion and breakage there on your cording. So to get started knotting, normally you would string all of your beads onto your cord. And I just put a few here so that I can show you the different kinds of tools that you can use to make knots. So one type is this type of knotter that is handheld. And what you do for this one is you want to hold the extra beads in your hand, passing that first bead around, make a loop over your fingers, drop this through, and then use your tool, the awl pointing away from you, cover it with your fingertip, then pull straight up. And this settles the knot into position right by that bead. Then place this through the yoke, and when you press your thumb up, it pops the knot right off the end of the awl. So get ready, here it goes, just like that. And this is a really fast method for knotting. This takes the place of the way that you would traditionally place each knot with an awl in between the beads. So you always work directionally with the extra beads in your hand for a tool like that. Now for a tabletop knotter, it's a very similar process. This time you slide a bead down, then pass all of your beads through the awl and make a knot around that awl. Then pull this straight up, then bring this cording through the yoke here, and when I release this lever, the knot is going to come off of the end of the awl, just like with the other tool. So I'm giving a little bit of tension here, and then pop, there it goes. And then you can bring another bead down, wrap it around, and then place it through the loop, pull it straight up, pull it through the yoke. And you can use a lot of different types of cording with either of these knotting tools. This one accommodates larger cording than the handheld knotter. So that's the basic technique. Now when you have a beaded strand like this, things get a little bit more challenging because you have more beads to knot around. So all of these are already knotted, but now I have to pass all of this bundle through here and then tie my knot. So I want to make sure my bead slides all the way down. Then I'm going to make a loop here and pass all of this beaded section through. Then I'm going to pull this straight up again, place it through the yoke, and then pull it tight and release my knot. Now, when you're ready to finish, what you do is you're going to leave a few beads unknotted at the end, regardless of whether you're doing a continuous strand or attaching a clasp. Since I'm using the French wire, I'm going to slide it right over my needle, whoop, and then pass the needle through the French wire, and then through the end of the chain. You can barely see it on there, but you want to make sure that it's all the way down to your bead. Leave a little bit of space in between your beads so that you can make knots in between. And you can see my French wire is covering the end there. And I'm just going to pass this through here, and then I'm ready to tie a hand knot. So I would just tie a couple of hand knots here and then pull this so that you are taking up a little bit more of this space, before you knot, because you just want to leave enough space between your beads here so that you can create a knot between each. Then you add a drop of jeweler's cement and trim your extra, and you are ready to go. I'm going to take a look at my extra pieces here. I have a knotted continuous strand, and then this is a traditional method of knotting pearls.